What's up, guys, and welcome back to Behind Closed Doors. It's your boy Pete here, and quickly before we get to the episode, I wanted to explain our new format. We're going to be running 2 minutes per segment. You're going to see a little clock in the corner that's really going to be counting us down to keep us on track. So, in under 10 minutes, you're going to get all the information you need to know. And if you have time and would love to stick around for more banter, we dive in at the end for our favorite Twitter segments of the week so far. So, if you've got the extra time, stick around. If not, in under 10 minutes, we're going to get you all the information you need to know. Thank you for watching Behind Closed Doors with us every Wednesday. Me, Anand, and Taylor. Now let's get into today's episode.
All right, guys, welcome back to Behind Closed Doors. Today is August 19th, not July 19th. I almost was mistaken because I've been gone for so long, and it's now finally back with the new strategy, or with the new layout, I should say, for Behind Closed Doors. It's going to be a lot more interesting, a lot quicker. But with my cool new headset and the layout, I think this could be the greatest show to ever touch the internet. So let's not waste any time. Taylor Offer is here with me, along with Anand Murthy. Let's get right into it. First of all, what we haven't been talking about is Taylor being back. He was once in Austin, then Florida, then Austin again, and now back here without his bike. So, Taylor, I'm sure you're missing your bike and your biking community, but what's happening with you, and where are you moving? I was told Nashville at one point, possibly back to Texas.
Yeah, so I went to Austin a couple months ago before all this hype was there. And unfortunately, I think I talked about it a little too much because now everyone's trying to move to Austin. And now it's becoming too mainstream for me. And there's too many of these tech nerds on Twitter talking about moving to Austin, and they're going to ruin the vibe in Austin. So Austin, maybe. I still have a lease I might try to get out of. I might go to Nashville. The reason I picked Austin and Nashville, both Texas and Tennessee have no state income taxes. So you could save a lot of money by being there. And yeah, Nashville's a pretty good option, and it doesn't have all these tech nerds.
Yeah, I think Austin's over. It had a good run for about 3 months post the pandemic, and Silicon Valley, like they do most things, are going to ruin it. They're going to outprice everyone, and they're going to increase homelessness because people are going to get moved out of their places, and it'll be unaffordable.
Yeah, so the real reason I'm actually leaving Austin because I bid on 3 different homes and I got outbid on every one, and I'm pissed off. So fuck Austin.
Keep Austin weird. Get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, it's gonna get a different type of weird. It's gonna get Silicon Valley weird, which is not good.
What's going to happen in Silicon Valley? Does it just go to like a sinkhole? Like what happens here?
I think San Francisco City proper is going to be completely decimated. People are moving to the suburbs. There's housing data that shows that Walnut Creek, Sonoma, which is obviously near Napa, and all the suburbs are on fire because everyone's leaving the city. The city's unlivable unless you're filthy rich.
Well, it sucks. I lived in SF right after school when I was working at LinkedIn, and
30 seconds.
It's absolutely miserable. There's hills everywhere. You can't walk anywhere. Everything's overexpensive. It's 90% dudes everywhere, and it just sucks.
And that was before the homelessness.
Yeah, well, no, we were paying $8,000 a month for a tiny little, this is 5 years ago, a tiny little 4-bedroom apartment. And almost every morning, there'd be shit on our doorstep. Human shit.
And it's gotten way worse.
Yeah.
That's gross. Okay, that's the time for that. One last comment. Where do people move? What's the location? If they're moving from San Francisco, where do they go if it's not Nashville or Texas? Austin.
I'm not telling anyone anymore because they're going to follow, and I don't want those fuckers following me.
Go to Park City, go to Montana, go to Wyoming. Just stay out of LA. We don't want you here.
Now, what I didn't explain right in the beginning there is we do have a 2-minute timer on every topic because we're going to keep things moving because we don't have much time around here. So you're going to see that new 2-minute timer. We're going to get things out moving quickly. So if you're just listening to it on the podcast app, make sure you head over to YouTube or anywhere where we are previewing this to catch the timer moving and these topics flying off the shelves. Let's move to number 2. This is fun. This is amazing. This is record-breaking. Apple just hit $2 trillion market cap as the first U.S. company to ever do so, after also being the first U.S. company to hit the $1 trillion market cap. What's going on with Apple? Is this as big of a story? Is it just was it seen all along that this was going to happen?
You know what's interesting? I'd love to hear Taylor's take on this. If SoftBank, when they raised the $100 billion, just put their money in Google, Facebook, Apple, and Microsoft, they would be the smartest investors in the history of the world. They would make Warren Buffett look like a chump compared to what they would have made. And it's absolutely insane that we're at $2 trillion. I remember, was it not that long ago that when trillion was a big deal?
2018. is when it hit $1 trillion, and it was wild, crazy news. So if you invested 10,000, so Apple IPO'd in 1980. So 18 years after it IPO'd in 1998, if you invested $10,000 in 1998 into Apple, how much money do you think you have today?
I think he posted it, so I don't want to cheat.
Pete, how much money would you have?
What was the initial investment?
If you invested 10K in Apple, like 22 years ago,
probably a couple million.
you would have $20 million right now.
That's ridiculous.
From 10,000. And Apple, it's Apple. Even if you invested if you invested in the 2000s, if you invested after the iPhone, like 10K, I think you'd still have hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Are you investing 10K right now?
In Apple?
Yeah.
Well, this is part of my new financial strategy and my stock investing strategy that I'll tell you guys is I know I'm too impulsive not to day trade because it's too much fun, but I have my Robinhood account and then I have an E-Trade account. So I put the money in the E-Trade account, only buy long tech, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and never touch it. So yes, I'll be buying some Apple.
I mean, Warren Buffett owns, or a quarter of Berkshire Hathaway is
15?
now Apple. Unbelievable. He made a killing, and he only put it in the last couple of years.
It's doubled in the last couple of years.
It's insane.
Wild.
So get in now. Don't be that person that we're talking about now saying if you just would have invested. I don't see them going anywhere anytime soon other than continue to go through the roof.
I keep an eye on Snapchat. I think they're undervalued.
I have 8 shares in Snapchat. We put a
There
little
you
bit of
go.
money just
There
for
you
this
go,
trying.
Pete.
They went up. They're up today.
Twitter is so undervalued. Twitter has a market cap of 30 billion.
And I think Snap's around the same. But Snap has just as many users in the developed world as Instagram. And it's worth a fraction of it.
And it's still super hot amongst young people. All my friends still use it. So it's still very active. It's so much unlike. It's a strict communicator. Like you don't communicate with people on Instagram really besides like random DMs. Snapchat is like texting, but with images pretty much.
Yep.
And the story function lives a little bit more raw. You don't have as much filtered stories as you do on Instagram. It's literally like you blacking out with your friends, where like Instagram, you would never put that there.
Gotcha.
Crazy.
Snapchat is working out with friends.
And low key, there's a lot of developers working on Snapchat.
Yes.
Keep an eye on it.
Keep an eye. Eyes will we keep out. Let's move on to topic number 3. This is actually really funny. So Taylor thought the Winklevosses were just flexing this morning. Winklevoss were flexing this morning on Twitter when, don't quote me here, but it was something around this. One of the Winklevoss twins tweeted out about how he found Bitcoin in Ibiza. There's a funny story behind this. So Anand, let's kick this one off. Tell us a little bit about how they found Bitcoin in Ibiza.
Yeah, so Taylor was trying to poke fun at them, but if you don't know the backstory, it is a little bit of a weird tweet. So after the Facebook settlement, they got filthy rich. The stock went on fire because they took a big portion of their settlement in stock. And they were figuring out what to do. So they tried to start a VC firm like everyone else who has hundreds of millions of dollars. And they effectively were persona non grata in technology. Mark Zuckerberg basically intimidated the entire Silicon Valley that if you take money from the Winklevoss, your natural acquirer, which is Facebook, in a lot of cases, is off the table. So founders were like, we can't take your money. Bitcoin Billionaires, that book outlines this whole thing, how founders were literally wouldn't even take meetings with them, even though they're willing to give cash, same way every other investment firm. So they couldn't invest in technology.
Wow.
So they took a trip to Ibiza. They were completely disinterested.
What else do you do when you're down and out?
Yeah, when
you go to Ibiza and take a bunch of drugs.
Yeah, you're filthy rich, and they're on a beach, and a guy just approaches them on the beach and talks to them about Bitcoin. They're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" They see him in a nightclub, and the guy's like, "Let's talk in New York. I'll explain it in more detail."
Yeah.
And because he couldn't hear, when they got back to New York, the guy followed up and said, "Let me explain Bitcoin to you." And their stake in Bitcoin, when they bought it, is now worth over $1 billion.
Well, they have the 1%, right?
Yeah, they bought 1% of Bitcoin at the time.
That's insane.
And now it's worth over $1 billion. And now they're huge in crypto. They have crypto fund. They have a crypto exchange.
And they just got Dave Portnoy, who has Corona, onto Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Do you think they were on drugs when they came across this Bitcoin guy?
Yes.
I'm sure. What else do you do in Ibiza?
That's true.
And why is rich guys?
I was at a bachelor party last summer in Ibiza, and I don't do drugs, but 90% of my group was on a lot of it.
Right, and what do you as dudes that rich who just came off of that? Why do you even want to talk to anybody random on a beach?
Yeah.
Like
What's
you
that?
had to have been on drugs enough to be social enough. When you're that rich, there's no way you give a fuck about some dude on the beach. But if you're gonna be off drugs, you're probably like, oh, like what do you want? What are you doing?
Right.
I think which led to it.
Great
So
speculation.
they've dethroned Mike Posner as the man who's benefited the most from going to Ibiza.
Exactly. That's a great point.
Well, Mike Posner probably won't do anything about it because he's too lovey-dovey and off. I don't know what he's on nowadays, but I don't see him fighting that statement. So we'll see. Okay, let's move on to the last one. Again, it just keeps getting better every day with this guy. Some of you may know him as our president. Some of you may also, I don't know what else you would know him as right now, but he did tweet out that Goodyear banned all MAGA gear, Make America Great Again gear. And then he told people to stop buying their tires, saying that there are better, cheaper options and that their tires are no good and that we should stop buying them. Let's just get some hot takes right off the bat with this. We'll start with Anand.
I actually don't mind the move. The left is trying to cancel everything.
Yes.
And that's what he said. He's like, the left's canceling everything. Let's cancel Goodyear. He's a fighter. Donald Trump, for all his criticism, the dude knows how to fight. He tanked the stock. The stock was down like 7% after his tweet. The sad thing is he's making America great again, and he's tanking an American company.
Can he do this as a president? Can you just bash privately held companies?
You know what he could do? He can call Blackstone, his buddy Steve Schwartzman, and say, I'm about to tweet Goodyear's ban Goodyear, and you could short the shit out of it, make a killing. How many people do you think he told he was going to tweet that?
So that's got to go on, right? There's no way it doesn't.
With him, absolutely. Like, I think he told people about the Eastman Kodak loan, which is being leaked now, that people knew about this and bought the stock. He doesn't give a fuck. I bet you in March, when the stock market crashed, he went to all his hedge fund buddies that he likes and says, the amount of money we are going to print, it is impossible for the stock market to stay at these levels, and they all made billions.
How quickly do you have to be on the ball for him to tweet something like that, you to short the stock to try to beat it, or does it just fall immediately?
I mean, he tweeted it in the morning by the end of the day, so if someone knew yesterday, hey, I'm going to fire this tweet up.
He's asking if you see the tweet and you short it within 10 seconds.
You probably could have made money.
Wow.
That's a good point.
So it makes sense to have Twitter alerts on for the Donnie and then just see anytime he says anything.
Yeah. But here's an interesting tidbit. A hedge fund manager told me once that if you are a former Fed banker, like a pretty senior Fed banker at any of the Federal Reserve branches, you'll get an automatic $5 million a year salary just to know where interest rates are going. They just assume you're going to be able to call your buddies at the Fed and say, hey, interest rates are going this way or the other way. It's a rigged game. I've been trying to tell people this whole time. We have no shot. We literally have no shot at making money in the stock market unless you just go long and let it sit. But if you try to day trade in and out, you'll get smoked.
So why, everyone that I know that's smart, even you or whoever, says the only way you win is by go long and stay out of it, why can no one do that?
He's a gambler at heart.
No, if you don't have a lot of money, like it's much easier to like go if someone has $1 million liquid and just be like, I'm just going to put it in Facebook and let it run. And then if it goes up 10%, you made $100 grand. That's a lot. But if you have 10 grand, it's not that interesting to make $1,000 in a year.
True. Cool. Okay, we got to keep moving on. Our last new segment that we're going to do at the end of this is our Twitter segment. So we're all actively on Twitter, at Taylor Offer, at Anand Murthy, at Group Chat Pod 1. We got to buy the group chat handle. We can't be doing this Pod 1 stuff. We're just going to give some funny takes on Twitter. What we saw, make sure you head over to Twitter and follow us there. We're on there all day, every day, interacting with us. Again, Anand, let's start with you. Who do you have? What do you got for Twitter?
Airbnb just filed for a confidential IPO thanks to Taylor Offer and all his friends.
And who called it?
Not thanks to me, because what I do on Airbnb is I negotiate on Airbnb, and then I tell the person, let's make a lease, and we'll do it off Airbnb, so you save the fees and I save the fees.
Do you write up that contract, or is that them?
It's usually goes simple. I just Google like rental contract. So, but in fees alone, for example, when you're doing like long-term rentals, like I do, like over a month, it might cost $5 to $10 grand, let's say, in your cost, and then the fees on that like $1,000. So I'm like, yo, let's just split this extra $1,000 and do our own thing. So sorry, Airbnb.
Hopefully you don't get kicked off the platform. Someone
I was about to say.
doesn't watch this. Like,
Yeah,
Well,
but
they
you can
can't
get kicked off the platform and just make a new
Yeah,
profile.
I would make a new account or profile.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
Airbnb.
So, yeah, sorry to just Taylor's generation got antsy after the pandemic. Hotels were kind of disgusting,
they are.
and people were like, "Fuck it, let's go be free and go to Park City, go to Aspen, go to Montana." And Airbnb saw catastrophe right as soon as the pandemic hit. But I think June and July, and I'm sure August, absolutely on fire. Rosewood Miramar, which is a fancy hotel out by Santa Barbara, $1,800 a night for one king bed. Domestic travel is on fire. People want to leave. You can't get on planes. If you can drive places, and if you're young and you don't mind flying,
Yep.
I think,
You will win.
Yeah, travel's crazy right now, and everyone's trying to get out. And I really think, and I want to hear you guys' takes on this. Like, is it going to stick? Like, the people that are going to Montana or random places right now, like, are they just going to stay there?
I think they'll stay there, but not for the long term. They'll definitely stay. I mean, we just had somebody message in this morning said they want to leave the country. They'll do it until things return to normal, but I don't think they stay there because once LA's back and popping, you don't.
and I mean,
Run away
let's
from
be
that.
clear. Once Facebook, Google, Amazon just leased like 1 million square feet in New York City.
Yep.
As soon as this pandemic's over by next summer,
We're
get
back.
the fuck back to the office and report to your middle manager, get to the water cooler and have awkward conversations. Get back to the office.
I don't know if people are going back.
Well, they're not going to have a choice because that's where the jobs are.
Right. In some capacity, they have to go back. They won't go 100%, but I think
Taylor,
obviously in some capacity.
you can live like this forever. You're
Right.
an entrepreneur. You set your own schedule. You don't have a boss. People who have bosses are going to be recalled back to the city.
That makes sense.
I'm still here. I never left. Fuck. Okay, Taylor, what do you got for Twitter for us?
I started posting on Twitter actively, actually. Like, last night, I was like, I'm going to put aside an hour or two and just post everything on Twitter. Twitter's an interesting place. Like, if you just post and engage with people, you get engagement. I think I grew almost 200 followers in one night.
I saw that. I was impressed.
There's a lot of trolls on Twitter, like a lot of very smart, angry people.
What are you doing in 2 hours to get 200 followers?
Just posting shit. And like, you just have to get an emotional reaction out of someone one way or the other. And actually,
And nobody does it better than you, I think. It's fair to say.
Well, I'm thinking, I kind of want to write about this a little bit. I was like, just thinking like, there's such a good, if you're able to get trolled, you have such a superpower over everyone else, just putting yourself out there because they're going to promote you. And it's like, if you're able to get attention, it's easier to shift attention from negative to positive than to get positive in the first place. Like, you look at Logan Paul, like everyone loved hating him. Then he does a couple things good. They're like, oh yeah, he's actually a pretty good, smart guy. Same thing with Dave Portnoy. Everyone's like, this guy's annoying as shit. Like, oh fuck, he's actually cool. Same thing with like, you look at anyone. Gary Vee used to be the most annoying person. Now he's a business mogul. Like, people like making fun of you. It's giving you free exposure. You're like, okay, take it. So I think some people figured it out, like Gary Vee or Kanye or Trump. Or even like Kim Kardashian, like she started as a porn star, like, or not a porn star, but making a porno. And now she's an icon. So like, get the attention, whether it's negative or positive, it doesn't matter. You can
All press is good press.
No, so I'll tell you the one caveat. You're your own boss, so you're able to do that.
True.
If you get aggressive, you may be unemployable. If your goal is to be trolled,
There's that point.
I mean, every boss is going to look at their Instagram feed, Twitter feed to see what these people are saying. They're like, well, this dude's wacky. Like, I'd rather pick a safer bet.
Yeah, but also the people like Taylor are the ones that take those chances and those opportunities, like Gary Vee, and can be who are their own bosses and entrepreneurs. So it's like you really don't see that out of true employees. Like even the Toby guy won't even go that far left or right on opinions because this is like it doesn't work for Morning Brew. That
which is even better because then there's even less competition for the people that are willing to do it.
Yep. Be a part of the 1%.
It's actually interesting. Is our time up, Pete?
No, this one is not time. This is just simply opinion.
Okay, so there's a Twitter guy named @Pomp, P-O-M-P. He's a crypto Twitter dude. He started out as a guy that everyone just made fun of. He would just say things like, Twitter's down, Bitcoin never goes down, Instagram's down, Bitcoin never goes down, Bitcoin doesn't sleep, Bitcoin goes 24/7. He just said that nonsense over and over again.
Yep.
And he was
Worked.
viewed as a joke.
Yep.
And now he matters because he built like 400 to 500,000 followers, has a podcast that he claims has 10 million downloads, And now he's getting all big guests because he matters. He has influence. And it's crazy the way he like gamed the whole system. And I'm pretty sure it was a well thought out strategy, and I give him a lot of props. And it's, if you're willing to be made fun of, you can go places on social media.
You have to be. You have to have the lovers, but the haters feel you 10 times more, and that's so
People
factual.
forget. It's so short-term memory. Like, they forget why they hate you. And if you make one smart comment of like, oh yeah, I was just trolling to get your attention. Now you're watching me, and here are my smart takes. Everyone's like, oh fuck, this guy's good.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what I'm thinking. And then just to slide this comment in there, because we won't really have much to say after it, because we run out of time. But the YouTubers that are throwing the parties doesn't fucking matter. It does not matter that they're throwing the parties. It'll do nothing to their brand.
the best thing they could do, like,
Yes.
it's controversial, but I think like the Suicide Forest video for Logan or all the controversy with Jake is the best thing for them because they became household names. And
Household names.
Now you have a chance just to make up for it. Go donate, $1 million to charity, and like, oh wow, they're a good guy. They donated to charity and they apologize for mistakes. You can always apologize.
Always apologize. Never ask for permission. Always ask for the apology.
Ask for forgiveness.
Ask for forgiveness. Whatever. Lastly, I have the WAP party. Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion went #1 with Wet Ass Poussey, as they say in France. But they also are now giving back $1 million to powerful women. This is just really cool. I know they partnered with Twitter and Cash App, and I'm sure it was none of their money, but it is really cool that they were giving back to powerful women $1 million worth. People are tweeting out getting $500, $1,000. That's great. That's stuff we need, especially in tough times like these.
That's what that WAP stands for.
Yeah, the WAP party.
Taylor? Are you living under a rock?
I haven't.
You didn't know that's what that meant?
No, I thought it was like a dance, like due to the WAP. WAP.
No.
Maybe you're a boomer.
That's the WAP.
So I don't understand because I see these like 12 on TikTok. Every girl is like a 12-year-old girl, like on the floor, like doing.
It's just a dance that they came up with. Same thing as everybody else is doing for TikTok strategies, just to make a dance, and that's what they're doing.
But
I'm kind of scared for America's youth. So there's a video there's a video that went viral. 2 girls. They're talking to it sounds like a podcast or a radio show. It couldn't be a radio show because of what they were talking about. It sounds like a podcast.
Yeah.
She's bragging. I don't know if you guys saw this. It has like 5, 6
Oh,
million
you're talking
views.
about
So she says
Adam 22. She sucked 7 dicks, and one of them was Devin Booker's off the Suns, and the Suns went 8-0 in the NBA bubble. All you got to do is get this girl to suck your dick, you're going 8-0.
So she brags about being in Vegas, having sex with a Suns personnel, not the actual player.
Right.
After she has sex with this like coach or whatever, 7 dudes come in one after the other. And
No, they were all together.
They were all together and they were just rotating. And she goes, "It was lit." I was like, "Oh my God."
She also claimed that Tory Lanez peed on her.
Does she really?
Yeah, but then Tory came out with IG messages like, clearly I was just like, this bitch is lying. Y'all are just so ready to believe anybody. But apparently she sucked 7 Suns dicks.
The host, her friend goes, "Oh, she's just nervous. How nervous can she be? She just told me she sucks."
So it's Adam 22. I mean, his wife's a porn star. I mean, probably it's the funniest shit I've ever fucking seen. But yeah, I wasn't surprised when it came out.
That is
I was disturbed.
insane. I mean, if you look on TikTok, if you just open the app, it's like scary. I mean, these teenagers are dancing to WAP, and like the way they're dancing and what they're doing and what they're saying, like there's a Cardi B lyric. Is it from the song WAP? Or
I want you to stick it in that little dangly thing in the back of my throat.
Yeah. And I'm just like, and these like 16-year-olds are doing this. I was like, what are your parents thinking?
They don't understand, but it was the same thing that was happening with Kesha or any of these other artists that were like, I want to take a ride in your disco stick. Like, it's the same thing.
But at least that you don't directly know.
Yeah. So there is a different. I agree. There's a different aspect.
Cardi B's like, I want you to fuck the shit out of my throat. Like, that's direct. Whereas before it was like, I take you to the candy shop. I let you it's like, it could be misunderstood a little bit.
Yes.
Whereas this is like, it's so direct.
Yeah, but that's what it's become. I mean, these new artists have taken over, and this is just this is how they're approaching it. I think it's interesting.
I mean, it's no different than. I mean, think about the shit guys say. That's where the double standard is. Like, that's why people are like, Cardi B can say whatever she wants.
Yep.
The shit that, Kanye's rapped about.
Yep.
I mean, he says he's pretty kosher.
There's a lot worse out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Final thoughts. Get them out if you have any on it.
America's youth, be safe.
Okay, Taylor.
Going to 100,000 on LinkedIn by the end of the year. Go follow.
Wow. 80 right now.
80,000 right now. We're doing a huge giveaway at 100K.
What are we giving away? Can I get some of it?
Maybe I could rig it to win if you. We're not connected on LinkedIn. I just checked.
Yeah, I don't do my LinkedIn. I did it right when I was trying to get hired, and then once I got hired off of a podcast that I applied for
you have a
via
website.
social media DM.
Hey, I'm Matt.
Yeah, it's a terrible website. I don't even know what's on there, to be honest.
Looks
It's
like
been
we
8
went a little
months.
past 10 minutes, Pete.
Yeah, well, it's fine. It doesn't matter. I wanted it this way. That was great conversation. As always, Costa Bravo Cocktails. Crack that sucker open. CostaBravoCocktails.com. Group chat 10 for 10% off. And you guys always talk about it. The Lawnmower 3.0. 3.0. This thing saws through anything. It's practically a chainsaw, but buttery smooth on your skin. Chops it right off. Head over to manscaped.com. Group chat for 20% off and free shipping. You can't beat it. That does it for us today. I'm behind closed doors. We're back every single Wednesday. We're not doing 2 times a week anymore, just one, because we wanted to make it awesome, and just 1 time a week because we're so goddamn busy we don't have the time. So thank you for listening. If you're listening, thank you for watching. If you're watching, follow us on all of our social medias, and we are out.
Peace.